How's it going, Star Seekers? My name's Gotcake, and in this review we're going to be taking a look at the sequel to one of the first games that I reviewed on the channel, Kuuki Yomi 2, Considerate Mod. Now for those of you that haven't seen the previous review, Kuuki Yomi's gameplay features a series of rapid fire minigames, similar to the WarioWare or Dumb Ways to Die games. The aim of the game is to be as considerate as possible in the given scenarios, but you can choose not to be. It's all up to you. So when we first begin the game, there are a few options available to us. We can begin by taking a look at the options, which are rather barren, but you can take a look at how to play the game, which just explains that you're free to consider the scenarios and act freely on them. It also tells you that you control the red object on a screen and can move it to perform whatever you consider the appropriate action to be. You can also leave the game at any point by pushing the plus or minus buttons. So back at the main menu, we can first jump into the standard single player considerate experience. Now there are 100 levels in this mode, all numbered for our convenience, and each playthrough, the order in which we get to play them is set. If we begin with this first minigame, we can get a feel for the game's gameplay. This old chap on the podium is announcing on the news that the new era will be called Reiwa, which is the current era of the Japanese official calendar. And then we can see as he holds up the sign, which is red, we can make him hold it so it's obstructed behind the image of the reporters, or we can hold it so that people can see it. The next minigame sees us waiting for a train. We get to control this red fella and we can choose to stand in the centre blocking people, or move over to allow another passenger to stand beside us. Now once we complete the fifth minigame, we get a little summary on how considerate we've been over the past 5 minigames. And as with the previous iteration of the game, I still have no idea how this is determined. And so the game goes on like this. A minigame begins, you assess the situation and make a choice based on what you believe to be the considerate action. After you've taken your action, you'll usually know by the outcome whether or not it was considerate, and often inconsiderate actions result in amusing outcomes. Now Kuuki Yomi is a Japanese game, and so having a little knowledge of Japanese culture and the customs will help with determining the correct actions. Like here for example, in Japanese culture it's considered rude to hand people money directly. Instead a small tray is used to transfer money between customer and service person. But having this knowledge is not a necessity to enjoy the game. Many of the minigames only require you to use a bit of logic or common sense to perform the considerate action. But then there are also plenty of minigames where nothing really makes sense. Like here where we're in this wrong section at a football game. Are we supposed to just stand up and cheer with the rest of them pretending that it's all fine, or skulk off to the side? In the end it is as the game's instructions say, there's no right or wrong answer, you just do whatever you feel is the right action. At the end of the 100 levels you'll be given an overall result of your performance with points gained from 5 different categories. Hitting the plus or minus button breaks down your score further and provides a bit of an explanation on what each category involves and an explanation on what each means. Following your completion of the main game, several new options open up on the main menu. Firstly, you can head into the chapter select to replay any of the 100 levels in the main game to see the outcomes of different choices. There's also a secrets menu which has a list of secrets that you've unlocked, and though they don't give you an explanation on how you actually unlock them, a couple of them are quite easy to identify, like the secret "a single bite", which you get from eating the entire cake when the girl offers you a bite of it. The next mode you unlock is Inconsiderate Mod, which turns the game's format on its head and requires you to be as inconsiderate as possible. As before, you get a summary every 5 levels and an end result, but these are modified accordingly in this mode. You can also play Quick Considerate Mode, where you only get to play 10 minigames, and it features 2 modes, Normal and Heisei. Heisei is the previous era of the Japanese calendar, and I'm not entirely sure but I think it's a practice mode featuring the same 10 minigames, whilst Normal mode features 10 random minigames from the main game. Heading into the extras menu from the main menu, you'll find 2 arcade style minigames. Firstly, the wave returns from the first game, but in Kuuki Yomi 2 it's had a bit of an overhaul, and now the game switches between multiple types of waves. In this minigame you have to perform your wave in time with the rest of the people, and you earn points for how accurately you do this. Failing to perform it correctly will cost you one of your 3 lives seen in the top left, and after losing all 3 the game will end and your score will be shown. The second arcade minigame is a new one called Rhythm Hell, where you have to time kicking over the stones after the last one lands. As with the wave you'll earn points for doing this correctly, and kicking too early or too late will cost you a life seen in the top right corner. Once again your score will be shown when you run out of lives. The final game mode you can play is Considerate Together. Here you get to play through minigames with a second player. Now some of these are modified versions of the main minigames and others are completely unique to this game mode. At the end of 10 minigames, you'll be given an overall result based on how well you perform together. So that just about covers all aspects of the game, so what can I say about my thoughts on it? Well, I personally enjoyed Considerate 2 just as much as I did the first game. It's strange, silly, and unmistakably Japanese in its nature and gameplay. There were a few minigames which were basically copied from the first game with slightly different scenarios, but on the whole the majority of the games were new. Now Kuuki Yomi 2 or even the first game really won't be for everyone, and I have no doubt that the screenshots alone will be enough to put people off it with the Microsoft Paint style visuals. But if you enjoyed the first game and was left wanting more, or just want to play something a little different, then I would definitely recommend both Kuuki Yomi 2 and the first game. So now we come to rating the game. Now I rate games between 1 and 5 stars, with a shovelware stamp of approval reserved for the worst games on the eShop. This rating is based on my own personal opinion on what a game has to offer in terms of gameplay and value for money to potential buyers. And for a rating I'd give Kuuki Yomi 2 Considerate Mod 2 out of 5 stars. As with the first game, Kuuki Yomi 2 is a fun little game that you can play through alone in about an hour or so, and it has a few different modes to keep you playing for a while after your first playthrough. It's also a game you might want to invite a friend over to play if you just want to confuse the hell out of them. You can get the game from the UK Switch eStore currently with 25% off for £2.99, or from the US eStore for $3.74. And that's it for this review of Kuuki Yomi 2 Considerate Mod. Hit that like button if the review helped you out, and let me know your thoughts about it in the comments section below. And as always, consider subscribing to the channel for more Switch indie game reviews I upload every few days. For now though, I just want to say thanks once again for watching, and until next time, game on.